Welcome to the V Twin Life. Another milepost as we're going down the highway, talk with people who just enjoy motorcycles and why the heck we enjoy life on two wheels. V Twin Life is brought to you by Crash In Clothing, better known as Crash Inc. across the World Wide Web. Man, these guys got a lot of great products. Brad is a dealer for many places. You guys can check him out. Great guy out of the Pacific Northwest down in Dallas, Oregon. So hey, if you need something, man, hit up Crash Inc. They got what you need. And we can't forget Wild Ass. Tell you what, I'm a commercial truck driver, and these wild ass cushions are made for more than just motorcycles. Anywhere you're going to plant your tush, dude, get a wild ass under it. Make yourself comfortable. You can't forget custom dynamics. You want to put some great lights in your bike. You want to be seen. You want to be see what you're doing at night. Hey, check out Custom Dynamics. They got a lot of great stuff. Hey, can't forget Mateer Motorcycle Lawyers. These guys aren't just attorneys, but these are guys that ride. You get in an accident, you need some help, get a hold of Mateer. These guys are great. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into another milepost of the V Twin Life.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is Sunday. It's milepost time. Tonight we are knocking down milepost 159 with got Daniel Mulder, part of the Riders Remember Memorial Park, and we'll get into that. I figure it'd be a fun way. We'll kind of dive into this as kind of first start how you got motorcycles and what got you into the direction of the Riders Memorial Park. But first off, man, thank you for taking time out of your Sunday and joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So, how did you get into motorcycles, man? Where did it come into life for you?
My biggest influence was my Harley riding hippie uncle, Ray, called him Unc. He was heavily involved with a bait of Washington, and
Yeah.
just seeing the fun that he had growing up and all the adventures, it really wanted me to have the same thing. So as soon as I was able to, got in the saddle. I was at a shoot. We could get our endorsement at 18. So,
What was the first bike you got?
oh geez, it was an '01 R6.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Of course, the family was not happy. They would have rather seen me on something like Unk, because you can't go super fast on those and do crazy stuff. But my friends and the peer pressure back then, everyone was getting on sport bikes. So if I was gonna do any riding, I wanted to fit in.
Understand. So then you kind of decided to go with the more safer route in life when it came to riding, away from the sport bikes, kind of.
As the years go on, and you think you're invincible, you think you own the road, you do all the things that put smiles on people's faces because it's an interest of theirs, wheelies, stunting, that kind of thing. Just being young and dumb, losing too many friends was really starting to weigh on me, and feeling somewhat, indirectly responsible by adding to that recklessness, being another person that was in the mix and encouraging it. And it got to the point where I just can't continue doing this and feel good about doing it while you know the people that would have been with us are no longer with us. So it was
Yeah.
a mental change.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, I wanted to be able to do more long distance riding. And you can't really have fun long distance. Well, I mean, you can, but it's not as easy. Saddlebags and tour packs are much more long distance travel friendly if you're going to do it on two wheels.
Yeah, true.
I
Yeah, of
hated
course,
backpacking.
Corey, I started on a sport naked, fun bikes, but the older I got, the more miles I rode, and those bikes aren't meant for more miles. True.
Nope.
So how did you find the Riders Memorial? Or I guess the Riders Remembered Memorial, excuse me.
So Facebook is great for motorcycle riders. There are so many different riding pages in the area, and they were advertising their first annual Fallen Rider Memorial. I want to say it was either 15 or 16, and That was when they were still at Acme off of Highway 9 at Blue Mountain Bar and Grill. And at that time, I was on a Honda Shadow, and hadn't done a whole lot of long distance riding, longer than an hour from home. And this put me at closer to 2 hours from home. But the experience that I had seeing all different walks of moto life, different genres of riding, to see everybody come together for one reason, that's what it made me want that more, but not realizing how it was going to manifest itself in my life, like trying to find my place in the community, sort of say.
Mhm.
And at that time, a lot of the riders did the bar hopping thing, poker runs. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against it. I support it 100%. What I don't support is the cruising and boozing and the misjudging tolerances and, the road, because the road you just were on sober is not going to be the same road you're going to be on 2 hours from now with 3 or 4 drinks.
Yeah.
So I went on a huge anti-cruising and boozing campaign, ruffled a lot of feathers, but made some traction. I tried to come up with my own little group club. I called it Scooter Tramps. It's kind of like one of those old rider beatnik type terms. A lot of my riding friends, like my uncle, were much older than I was, so I love that old school term, Scooter Tramp. So then I built a little community and had a following, and it just wasn't the time for that in my life or for the community. And at the same time, I had been involving myself with the Writers Remembered functions, but as an independent. And they started seeing what I was trying to do and understanding that, hey, none of us are getting any younger, and we need to start thinking about this organization's future. And so they really started pitching it to me. Hey, why don't you consider hanging around more often? We could use someone like you. And at that time, I was still kind of in denial about wanting to join anything else that I hadn't started on my own, even though the mission statement that they had really spoke to me in my heart. So then, a little bit fast forward, we hit COVID, and everybody shut down. The world shut down. Riders weren't getting out as much, and if they were, it was pretty sporadic. It was hard to get a group together and then find a place that would host us that wouldn't shun a bunch of bikers that were refusing to wear masks.
Yeah.
Understandably so, because you can agree to this. Riders don't like being told no. Oh yeah, you think so? Huh? Watch me.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where it started to make sense what they were trying to accomplish, wrangling me in, and what this stood for in the community. I felt that I could really do something for this nonprofit. Well, and back then we weren't even a 501c3. It was just the idea and the physical layout of the Writers Remember Memorial Park. It really was just started with one man that got tired of missing his riding friends, and then he'd been doing it for so long. Then he asked another person, "Hey, I'm getting too old for this. I can't do it anymore. Will you carry this on for me?" And that individual did. And they carried us on for a long time until we really started to grow. But we have our founders. There's like 6 or 7 solid elders that money out of their own pockets, that each person would try and get into rotation. They would communicate with the family or the club or friends of the fallen rider and organize the plaque design and then the ceremony. for the plaque presentation. And it got to the point where the guys were, I don't want to say they were getting tired of doing it, but they knew we needed to go in a direction for the survival and longevity of this mission. And out of their own pockets, our pockets wasn't going to do it. So that's when we made the decision to apply, and it was an easy application to get our 501c3, have our UBI and EIN number for any monetary or donations that people want to claim. So if anybody ever gets audited, us, them, it's all legit. We don't want to show that we're using the money for anything else except for the maintenance of the wall and the plaque orders. We're all volunteers. Nobody gets paid. We're here because we want to be here. And yeah, it's just it's something that's become near and dear to my heart. I am one of the youngest members, and we just want to see this thing flourish and continue on, because no one is ever forgotten as long as their name is spoken. And that's another nice thing about the wall. Every plaque is personalized. It's a one-off, unless if it's from a club, and we do have some clubs that have multiple members, and it's heartbreaking. But at the same time, it's better than a cemetery. And God bless our hosts, Bird's View Brewing Company in Concrete, for opening up their doors and donating almost 13 of their acres to our cause. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I remember seeing when I found I put up a picture because I just happened to go on a ride through Skagit up there with my daughter up out North Arlington, and like we were talking earlier, I think this was 23 when here's the photo I took when, and I know you guys have since moved, but and I knew nothing about this. Like, holy cow, this is some of those that was actually pretty cool. It was a good neat way to remember our fellow riders. And then like we were talking earlier, I met up with some of your organization on the last Break Your Butt In ride last year, and I know it's been a little while getting this thing together to get one of you guys on here. And if you would kind of explain a little bit more exactly what the Riders Memorial is for some of those people that are listening and tuning in, instead of I know we were talking about plaques and a place to go remember your loved ones, but if you want to explain to them a little bit more exactly kind of what it is.
Yeah, sure. Well, our creed is the Riders Remember Memorial, a place to remember men, women, and children who enjoy the sport and lifestyle of motorcycling. And it is open to everybody. Not one person is ever turned down. But as far as the Riders Remember Memorial, we are a nonprofit organization that is here for the general motorcycle community for right now, Western Washington, but to honor fallen riders. It really is one of its kind, even though there are other motorcycle groups that have their own version of a fallen rider memorial. But this has gotten a lot of traction for the kind of outreach that we've done. Facebook has definitely helped us get our name out there. And then the personal testimonies of the people who have a person on the wall. I mentioned, for right now, we're just in Western Washington, but one of our brothers bought property in Carlisle, Wyoming, which is 15 minutes west of Devil's Tower and just another 45, 50 minutes from Sturgis. And he has materials right now and is waiting for the ground to thaw out a little bit so he can break ground and have a Riders Remember Memorial in Crook County, Wyoming. Because we have a lot of, it is, yeah, we have a lot of people that would be going to Sturgis from here and several of them no longer have their riding friends, and that would be a stop that they could make, to hey brother, we're thinking of you, you'd be here with us type of thing. And like I
Yeah.
said, it's better than a cemetery because there's a face and a personalization to uh, the memory that people have of their person, and it just makes it something really special. Not to take away from anybody else that does something like this or any cemetery, but it speaks to a lot of people for what we stand for and what we do for our community. Not only for honoring fallen riders, but when that fallen rider's family now experiences the loss of that income, we have stepped in, helped out with groceries. We adopt families in the holidays, especially from our list of people who are, we help them honor their person. So
Mhm.
we have quite a long list right now, um, and we try and do what we can um, during the season and even during the off season, especially around the holidays, because that's hard, especially the first holiday after losing somebody.
Right now, is your guys' new site? Are you guys fully all moved in? Because I know last year was in the process of moving, and because you guys been at a few different locations over the years.
Yeah, so this is actually our second year at Birdsview. Um, we ran into a situation where we were going to lose our land lease at the Rex, and so we had to make a decision. And another one of our members lived near Birdsview, and so literally went in there one day and was talking to him, pitched it to him. They said they'd heard about it before, but never experienced it. They acknowledged, bikers come through there every once in a while, but not a whole lot. And so when we basically said we can help double your income just by our presence, and so they agreed. We signed a land lease. Started out with a 5-year land lease, and within the first 3 months of us being there, they had shared with one of our officers that they had already made that season's profits, and they still had 3 or 4 months left to go in their season. So that kind of says something about what we bring to the table as far as participation and the people that are aware of what we've done. They want to see their person, and it really is cool because during any time that we're having a ceremony, you've got Bird's View is on one side of the property, then their gravel parking lot, and then a pretty big field. So they're over 100 yards away. But when
Mhm.
we're having our ceremonies, um, we've gotten an agreement that that is now an extension of their beer garden. So literally, we can bring if anybody has a beverage, you can bring your alcoholic beverage out to the wall. Technically, you're not supposed to be there, but on events and whatnot, they allow us to do that. And we respect their grounds, like any place. Pick up your
Right.
trash. Um, but yeah, it's really cool. Sorry, I kind of slipstream. I hope I answered the
No, man, you're
question.
good. Yeah. So now, do you
ADHD.
guys put on, yearly events or anything to help with, funding and keeping this organization going?
We do. We have a annual Fallen Rider Memorial Run. Usually, it's on the second weekend in August, but it's really hard to compete with other events, especially when we would like to participate with those events, and a lot of people that can't decide, well, what do we want to support, right? So we had to bump out our date this year to the 21st. Usually it's on the 15th or the 16th, depending on when it falls.
Mhm.
But this year we moved it out to the 21st because the Randy Couture GI run is going to be the weekend of the 16th.
Oh, okay.
and they're going to start it at Sound Harley again this year. So a lot of us, we're local to that. I'm about 45 minutes south of there, but yeah, um, we've never been able to participate in it because it always falls on our annual run, and this year will be our 8th annual.
Nice. Hey, congrats.
So yeah, I
Hey,
think.
well,
Go ahead.
oh no, so I mean, what's your guys' average turnout? I mean, how many people usually are you get going?
We always definitely have over 100. There
Oh,
are
that's nice.
some years, yeah, some years we've had close to 300, and anywhere in between. It always fluctuates,
Yeah.
but we always have a decent turnout, a really good showing from the greater Skagit, Whatcom, and North Snohomish County areas. But then again, there are some people that travel from the peninsula, from Pierce County. Um, a lot of our members that are from our Pierce County chapter will participate with the Skagit Run, which is really cool because that puts them well over 2 hours from home just to,
Yeah.
support our ride.
So, how long is your run when you guys take off of your ride? I mean, what kind of, ride, a couple hours or, generally what is it?
So typically we'll start at one of the businesses that's in the Marysville area. Um, this year we're going to start at, excuse me, we're going to start at Lucky 13, and they're opening up early for a breakfast type bar setup. And then another stop is the Stanwood Eagles. And then the third stop is Evelyn's over by Clear Lake off of Highway 9.
I've been there.
Clear
That's a cool little place.
Yeah, they are a huge supporter of ours. So the way it works is because we don't have a gambler's license, we can't actually host a poker run because if we were to get audited, we don't want to run into a sticky situation where
Gotcha. Yeah.
we're doing something we shouldn't. If we can find a business like a bar that has their license where they do pull tabs that is willing to, put their name on the host type thing, and then they donate everything to the Riders Remember, that would be a legit get around.
Mhm.
But for right now, we do a 50-50, and then we just ask for donations. And man, every time we're passing around the 50-50 and the regular donation bucket, I've never seen bikers pull out so much cash out of their pocket just to throw it in. And it says a lot for those people who work a lot and share their hard-earned dollars for our cause, because it means
Yeah.
something to them. But so then we all meet up at Evelyn's. So Evelyn's is the last stop, and literally it's about a 55-minute ride from Evelyn's to the Wall at Birdsview. And we always ask the assistance of the community. Usually it's an MC that is comfortable with running traffic, and they will run ahead when we're getting ready to kick stands up around, usually it's around 1 o'clock. And it is a unbroken train through 3 roundabouts and 1 major traffic light getting onto Highway 20. And we have had no incidences. I can't even remember hearing anybody that got irritated, because we've also had vehicles that have literally stopped all intersections just so we can have a safe passage through.
Mhm.
And for the short amount of time that it is a small inconvenience for what we're doing. And it's a lot of fallen riders that we're honoring. So yeah, it's really cool for those that can't start in the morning or midday. We always tell them, if you can be at Evelyn's by 12:30, kickstands up at 1, and that is the big group ride. It gives me goosebumps thinking about it, because the last 2 years I've been able to lead the ride, and it's really something being in the front and you know, everybody sees the line. And I have a certain mentality when I'm leading a group ride. I consider it like conducting a train. If you conduct your train in an unsafe manner, stuff's going to happen. But if you dummy it down to the least experienced rider's level and literally, I'm usually about a couple miles under the posted speed limit, but it keeps everybody tight in a nice, organized, staggered fashion. Until we get about a couple miles before Bird's View, everybody tightens it up and ends up being 2x2. And that's a sight to see when we roll into Bird's View. And I'm sure you know Fozzie, Great Motorcycle Rides of Washington. He always has his drone out and always gets some great footage of the event.
Oh yeah, he commented just a little bit ago. So great to see Daniel Mulder, Fozzie. Daniel Mulder, Fozzie says.
Yeah, Fozzie's a great guy, good friend.
Yeah, he was on last year. Got to meet up with him, had him on here, which is pretty cool. He's on a great page and, does a lot to help promote all, like his page says, the great motorcycle rides of Washington. And, he's always sharing them and, promoting everybody's rides a weekend. Now he's got the Google Calendar up. You can check on his page for all, you want to go for a ride. He's got everything posted up. He's got a lot of cool stuff going too. He's all over the place.
Definitely a community icon.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So yeah, the RRM annual Fallen Riders run Saturday, August 22nd. I'll just have to put that on my calendar.
22nd. I thought for some reason it was the 21st.
Yeah, Butter Dash Q7B is 22nd.
Cool.
So now you guys been 4 different sites since this started?
3. So we started in Acme, and then we moved to the Rex, and then our current location, hopefully, the mothership resting home, is at Birds View Brewing Company.
Right, and that's up in Concrete, you said.
Concrete off of Highway 20. It's literally between Hamilton and actual Concrete, but right in the middle. The reason they call it Birds View is because that's the old town of Birds View.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like unincorporated county.
Yeah, gotcha. So I noticed one thing, not trying to change subject off this, but did you go the dark side on your Harley in the back? Looks like you got a car tire on there.
Yeah, I sure do. It's my 15 Fat Boy. I call her Pebbles. And when I got this thing, my mentality was I have saddlebags, I have a tour pack. Now I need to make sure I have all my roadside assistance stuff. So that usually consisted of 1.5 gallons worth of fuel, a can of Fix-A-Flat, your plug kit, the regular tools, and you add that and a few other things, and it adds some weight. And motorcycle tires, when you run a straight line, for the most part, you're going to chew that rear tire up real quick. I was lucky to get maybe 8,500, 9,000 miles out of one rear tire in the beginning of the season, especially daily commuting. And then the weekend warrioring. So having a dark side on the back, I've got now 4 front tires to that rear. And that I've been dark side on that for since 2019.
I thought about doing that on mine, but I heard because but mine's the skinny tire with the 2004 that there's a little bit more stuff. I had to change belt and yeah.
If you have a wider rear tire, it's a little bit easier, especially clearance on the swing arm. But honestly, it's a novelty thing. It's really not practical. You definitely have to push harder in the corners. I definitely don't like the way it grabs in the grooves on the highway. But yeah, I really wanted to do it because that was my daily commuter for a long time, and I just got tired of chewing up rear tires. It's no, it's real easy to lean on, and I have gotten that tire on its sidewall in front of some people where we get to the next stop and they're just jaw dropped, cannot believe that I'm riding that like I'm on a normal motorcycle tire.
Yeah, I've heard, read up on it and, read a lot of comments and whatnot, but I was really giving it serious thought. And then when I realized the extra stuff they had to go through with, having the other frame sound, I'm like, nah, I'm going to pass on that.
Yeah, unless you're already set up for it, it's really not worth it. Unless you have the time and the money and want to be able to say you did it. I
So what have
really
you
wanted
done
to
to
be
the other
able
one
to
behind
tell
you?
him.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what have you done behind you?
my Pan America.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've put 55,000 miles on it in 3 years. Haven't put
Oh,
a whole lot on it in the last year. I had an injury the beginning of last year that really put me out. I ruptured a disc in my neck, and yeah. But no, I have done nothing on this thing except for a slip-on exhaust, and just ridden the piss out of it.
hey, there you go.
They really don't have a whole lot of performance things to do to these. They're really just stupid fast out of the box. Um, but you're gonna find yourself. Well, I found myself spending more time without it because of the gremlins and the warranty issues, and just don't get me wrong. This was a life changing experience buying Harley's first adventure bike,
Yeah.
but if I had it to do over again, yeah, I'm not so sure. But I'm
Yeah, I've
stuck
heard
with
that
it.
from a few people, but
Yeah, I'll still ride the piss out of her.
yeah, I said give it a
Fortunately,
few years to get the bugs out.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I'm a 22, so the things that are still have yet to go wrong, you don't know until they go wrong. And just when I thought everything could go wrong on this thing, something else happens that I wouldn't have expected. Luckily, it's a
You say,
warranty thing.
yeah, you said that one's a 22.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the 24s and up, they those are the better ones. They've done a lot more replacing of I I don't want to say poor quality, just stuff that wasn't up to the design and power that this thing puts out.
I think with anything new, you got to, you got to get the bugs worked out of them. I don't think it doesn't matter what brand or what you're buying when you're getting, the first model of anything. It's going to take a little bit to get everything worked out, get the kinks out of them.
True. I feel that they could have waited 4 or 5 more years before introducing this to the general public. Work out those bugs. But it is what it is. It's a great machine. I really can't say anything bad about it. Like I said, it's been a life changing experience for me. I did my first long distance solo trip cross country on this thing. I wouldn't say cross country; it was 6 states. But I've never been able to
Still a
do
good
something
ride.
like that. It is. One of them was to go deliver a, a huge bell, kind of like a bell you'd ring at a dealership when you buy a new bike.
Hmm.
We have a friend in our community who took it upon themselves to purchase and have our logo engraved on all 5 of them. Um, yeah, that was a lot of money. And so one of these bells went to our brother in Wyoming. I delivered it to him. Uh, Said, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. We're still working on getting you all your materials. This is before he even broke ground. It still hasn't even broken ground, but before, the whole idea was set in stone. So, yeah, a lot of support.
Oh yeah. No, and like I said, when we were talking earlier before this, it's really neat what you guys got going on, and a way to remember. Like somebody commented, it's a nice, safe place to go remember your loved ones. With what you guys have done with the Riders Remember Memorial.
Well, another nice thing about our group is you don't have to be a rider to join. We have people that have never ridden a motorcycle but they have people that they know that they've lost. And because this speaks to their heart and means something to them, we welcome them with open arms, especially if they have something to bring to the table. And everybody in our group is unique and has something that they bring to the table, which is what makes this group so cool. We don't like politics. We're all adults. We don't like drama. We have a mission. It's very clear, and we're here for the community. Um, our secretary, Butter, she has a white Corvette, and on any of my rides, she's my chase vehicle. And anytime I see that white hood coming up, especially if it's an uncontrolled intersection, I don't leave until I see that white hood and she's following the last bike. Once she's in my vision, if we got a clear path, we will continue on. And 9 times out of 10, there will be somebody in the group that will jump out and stop traffic, even though I'm not a big fan of asking people to do that, because if I asked you to block traffic and something happened to you, I would never forgive myself. If I make it clear, I'm not asking you guys to do this, but if you feel, comfortable enough and you want to do you because you know what we're trying to accomplish, by all means. But no, if something happened to somebody that I asked to help block traffic, and I'd never forgive myself.
I know a few of the runs like that I've gone on. Usually there's, a few that speak up and will volunteer early, just so it's taken care of, and most of them handle it pretty well.
And we really appreciate those people that do, because their mentality is just trying to keep the group safe and together.
Yep. Exactly. No, and it does help, especially when you got a large group like that. Trying to keep everybody together on large rides is not an easy task at all.
Herding cattle, man.
That's a good way to put it, for sure.
Especially when you have so many different levels of rider experience.
Yeah. So if people want to donate to the Riders Remember Memorial, what's the best way they can do that?
We have a QR code on our website at rrmp.org, and you can specify in the notes if you want to donate specifically to the mothership in Skagit County or to our sister chapter in Pierce County. Currently, we're not taking anything that would specifically go to Wyoming. It's not an actual site yet, but for the time being, they're going to be running off of our 501. So chances are we're just going to be shelling out funds for their maintenance for the time being.
You said that was rrmp.org?
Yes, for Riders Remembered Memorial Park.
Okay, yeah, I'll put that in the description down below. Edit that, and we'll get that put in there, so people want to come back, check it out, they can see it. It'll be there for people that want to, if they want to help out, however they can.
Yeah, for anyone that physically visits, we also have a plaque that was printed that has our QR code on there. So we have one that's both at the Skagit Wall and the Pierce County Wall.
Where's the Pierce County Wall at?
It is at Kapowson Ale House and Grill. It's kind of a dive, but they have the greatest spirits, and the owner, her name is Joyce Young. She was actually kind of skeptical in the beginning, and she wasn't very biker friendly until she lost her husband Gary, and that changed. So it was almost a year after she lost him. I was working with an individual who is now my coordinator for Pierce County, trying to figure out where we could land a host. And it took a while, and did a lot of legwork, and finally went back there. And this was the last hoorah attempt. He went in there guns blazing, gave the greatest pitch, and her response was really just jaw-dropping. She goes, "You know what? I just took over the other half of the building, so we're going to make that a kid corral. So we're family friendly now. And I'm sure a lot of these riders have kids. So let's do this. So they became, they were just a 21 and older bar, and they are now all ages, family friendly, which is one of the biggest things that we needed. We were not
That's
going
super
to,
cool.
it is, we could not, sign a land lease with a business that wasn't willing to bend on having children. Because we do have a lot of kids that are missing their parents that are on the wall now.
Yeah, you
So,
guys got
yeah,
quite a bit of people on that wall. It's pretty impressive. And I've only been to the one. I haven't been to the one, seen the one in Pierce County either. So I can't speak for that one. But no, it's pretty amazing what you guys have done.
it's considerably smaller, especially in attendance. There's a good two handfuls right now of plaques. Majority of those were transfers or duplicates. A lot of the people that are currently on the mothership Skagit wall are from the south end, and not that it was anything for those people to make the trek on our annual, but we got a lot of feedback that people were interested on being able to have something near them, and King County just wasn't going to be an option. It was just too close, and anything further than Pierce County, I was the first, or at the time, I was the furthest south for our organization, and I'm already a little over an hour and a half from the Kapowson location. But it just made sense. We needed to be able to accommodate the need, and it
Yeah.
really helps us out because we're sharing the love and the need to honor fallen riders, and that's all we really want to do is just be here for the community to honor their fallen riders.
Yeah, I think if you guys get the one going in Wyoming, that'd be pretty freaking cool. I mean, there's so many people that visit, I mean, Sturgis, like, I don't know, you call it the Mecca of motorcycle events, but you do see, unfortunately, tragedy does strike. And I think that could be something really cool over there.
Oh, absolutely. And that gave me goosebumps as well. I can't wait until that time comes because uh, his name's Gorilla. He goes by Gorilla. He's a former Vietnam vet, and yeah, he's one of our founders. Has a big heart. Just needs to be able to, get his chapter built. It's really hard where he is, and it's kind of remote on the stretch of highway that he's on. They're the only store within 25 miles, and the next closest town is either Gillette or Sundance, if you know where they are.
Oh, yeah. Been to both of them. I actually got a good brother who lives in Gillette and been through Sundance. Yeah, actually been to Sundance Harley Davidson on the way to Devil's Tower.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool out there. I mean, I really feel it's God's country out there.
Oh, it's beautiful out there. My wife and I were talking about that before we came on here. It's like, we'd love to go back to South Dakota, but just do it like June, at least 4 weeks before the rally where it's not so intense with traffic and everybody else want to see stuff where you can be able to spend a little bit more time and a little bit more not packed on
Right?
the roads and everywhere to really absorb it. I mean, fuck myself. I'd love to spend a whole day in Deadwood just going through all of Deadwood and everything. It's
Hmm.
definitely a beautiful place.
The last time I was there a year before last. Yeah, 24, and I'd left their house at like 6 o'clock in the morning just to get out on the road before the heat hit. Well, I got to Rapid City by 9:30, 10 o'clock. It was already 102. I
Yeah.
made it 6 miles into the Badlands and turned around. I was like, I am not doing this by myself in this heat, unprepared.
Yeah, wife and I we did Sturgis in 23. We're over there and never got super, super hot, but definitely crowded.
Yeah.
So, well, man, thank you for taking time out of your afternoon, and really, I think this one was a lot of fun. This is kind of stuff that's neat when you can try to spread the word and let more people know about some of the amazing stuff that our fellow motorcycle riders do to remember the ones that aren't here, or even just getting together to see people that want to do something to help those types of individuals. And that's pretty awesome what you guys got.
I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to help spread the awareness and give us a plug.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it was neat meeting some of the people throughout your organization when I was up there on the Break Your Butt In ride last year, and got to meet some of those guys. And plus, when it was something I stumbled upon and happened to find that I knew nothing about a couple years with my daughter, and then getting to meet some of the other people. And no, it's really cool. And definitely when you come by and you see it in person, it definitely, speaks to you, I guess you could say.
Well, if you thought it was pretty special and amazing when you saw it at the Rex, you are in for a treat when you show up at Bird's View. If you're heading east towards, like if you're going towards Diablo,
yeah,
it's on the right-hand side. And it's almost one of those, if you blink, it's gone. But if you know what you're looking for, and then you turn and you see it, it really jumps out at you. Especially when you see the deck and then the fence structure, if you will, and then all the service flags, the American flag with the POW. Yeah, man, it hits close to home.
Yeah, I'll be up there at least within the next 2 months. I know for sure. I do want to come check it out. And like I said earlier, man, Skagit County is one of my favorite areas to go ride through and up in that area. I mean, I love Highway 20. I mean, it's the golden gem of Washington.
When you do, definitely hit me up. I'd love to join you.
Heck yeah, man, for sure. So, hey, thank you very much, for taking time out and spreading the word of the Riders Remembered Memorial Park. It's been great. Can't thank you enough for that. And then next Sunday, we got Sean the Fed Johnson out of Oregon. Guys will be running his first Hokahay this year, number 1352. He's going to be on a mission. He's got some pretty cool stuff. The dude is double fundraising, which I can understand the complexity of that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk with Sean and find out what he's got going on, and got a pretty busy month. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. So, hey, thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in and coming to hang out. And Danny, of course, thank you very much for your time. And like I said, man, if there's any way I can help promote what you guys going on, feel free to let me know. And man,
you just did.
I'll do everything I can. I will.
You're awesome.
All right.